What's up, heathens? How are you guys doing today? I'm doing alright. Today we're going to be talking about this stupid shit.
You know, it's really, atheism is a disease, man.
Sorry, my atheism's acting up. How in the world is atheism a disease? Well, we're going to learn about that and much, much more today. So please stay tuned. And then we're going to get into atheism being a disease. Now, basically, there's this guy sitting at a picnic table, and he's explaining to us why atheism is wrong. It's a disease, and the Bible's literal. And so that'll be interesting.
Mikhail is the Bible literal.
Mikhail. Remember that. It's Mikhail. Disclaimer. These views expressed in the interview you are about to watch are not the views verbatim of any of Brother Mikhail's teachers, elders, or organizations mentioned, but are exclusively from Brother Michael's own mind. What?
On mind.
On mind, not own. On mind. Yeah, is it Michael or Mikhail? Or did he just be like, I want to be all original and shit. I'm Mikhail now.
First of all, I'd like to give all honor and praise to our Most High God, the Elohim, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, and our high priest. I'd like to thank my brother TJ, that's one of the realest cats. He a real host of the show, too. Like I say, he not he don't catfish you in and then start siding with people and dicing up debates and all that. I ain't gonna say no names, but it's people that do that out there, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so we're talking about people catfishing other people? Like, are they luring men into their ministry by posing as, like, women or something? Like, what the fuck? No, I think that he's a Hebrew Israelite is what he is. I don't really know, though. It's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't ever say, really.
But, what was your first question? Is the Bible literal?
Is the Bible literal? Should we take the literal?
Also, I will say that him giving all praise to Jesus or God or Elohim, whatever, at the beginning sounds really Muslim-y, if you ask me. Because it's like, Muhammad, peace be upon him, I give praise unto Elohim.
What I found out a long time ago, when people say stuff like the Bible is allegory, and they actually get that from the Bible, that's the funny part. They get that from Galatians chapter 4.
KC asked what is on his chin. That would be a piss-poor beard. It's a front-facing rat tail. It's a one braid.
Say these things are allegory. And if you go to Galatians chapter 4, like verse 23 up and up, the funny thing about it is they never read the whole thing. You know,
okay, so he's saying, what I'm grasping here is that he's saying that people claim that the Bible is allegorical because of this one passage in Galatians, and that it's a straw man or a misrepresentation of it because Paul, the author of it, says that the Abrahamic story of Hagar and all that are an allegorical story. And so it's specifically talking about that and like how you're a slave to your mind and slave to all these other things and whatnot. Basically, he's guilt tripping the church in Galatia and like telling them, y'all fucking up over there. I don't know what to tell you guys. Was I not killing you motherfuckers and then I turned my shit around like a fucking 180? Like, that's basically what that part of Galatians is talking about. But in a broader sense, the New Testament is very much allegorical. Like, the stories of Jesus, the entire gospel of Jesus, really, is an allegory. Not only has John Dominic Crossan presented a hypothesis about this, but recently a scholar in the UK found I believe it was it was like a 5th or 6th century author that was explaining the exact same stuff. So the whole idea that the Gospels were allegories is not a new idea. People have been thinking about it for a long time. And it's not just based on Galatians.
a lot of cherry pickers. That's why everybody not qualified to deal with the scriptures.
Yeah, this Christian, he doesn't need to be talking about fucking cherry picking. It's like, no, we're not going to stone no homosexuals, but I got to tell you, you're going to hell for it. The whole fudgepacking thing.
You know, if you read it, it tells you what part of that story is an allegory. It don't mean the whole Bible is allegory. If the whole Bible was allegory, then, you know, it really wouldn't have no reason to, it wouldn't have no importance to it. You know what I'm saying?
I disagree with that because, like, for instance, there are many other allegories in classical literature that have great significance, like in their moral teachings and the morals of the story and everything like that. So I don't think that they're just a wash. Like I don't think that they're just throw them out or whatnot. I think that you have to refocus like the importance of it because like it's no longer an importance on your soul in the afterlife and all that other bullshit. It's more of a focus on like classical literature and shit. Like you just got to refocus that importance. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Bible isn't important to history because it is. I mean, there was the whole Middle Ages where it was pretty fucking important. And then there was a whole Roman adoption of Christianity as their main religion. I mean, it's intricately woven into history. So, I mean, it is important regardless of whether or not it's allegorical.
So it's talking about the story of Ishmael and Isaac and the mothers of the children, one being a slave woman, one being a free woman. That part is an allegory. You see what I'm saying? It's not saying that one wasn't a literal slave woman and one wasn't a literal free woman, but it's the story itself, what it represents, being a child of a slave and being a child of a free person. So that's what that's talking about. So when you read the scriptures, it's like anything else. It has to be put in context.
Ding, 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 ding. Context. Out of context. All right, you're taking it out of context. If somebody is making the exact argument, thank you, KC. If someone's making the exact argument that Galatians 4 means that the entire Bible is allegorical or is an allegory or a set of allegories, then I would say that he probably has a pretty good response to it. Because taking that little bit is out of context. But I think that he's building a straw man here because nobody is saying that because of Galatians, that particular verse in Galatians, that everything is an allegory. And I think that, that precedent of it being an allegory lends credence to the idea that the Gospels could be an allegory. But I mean, Paul... he legit thought that Jesus rose from the dead. Like he saw Jesus on the road to Damascus and he had this very spiritual vision of him. And he routinely throughout his writings says that he did not get his information from any person out there, but rather he got it from scripture and revelation. I mean, to just throw away that argument that they're allegory, I think is really not looking at the actual argument that they are allegorical.
Things would be literal, certain things would be, figurative. And what I found out is when a lot of times when people say things like the Bible is an allegory or metaphysical and stuff like that, they really don't have an explanation. They can't explain it, or either they don't like what they see.
That is called a false dichotomy. That's a false dichotomy because it's not one or the other. It could be that they've actually read up on, the literary critiques of the Gospels and have, figured out like the common fingerprint of allegories because they're all over the Gospels. Like the rule of 3 is one of them. That's where you have things happening in a sequence of 3 and all that kind of stuff. That in the Joseph story in Egypt with the multicolored fucking raincoat thing. He goes to Egypt and, he's sold to this one Egyptian and he's raised up to a high position and then he goes to jail. And then he's raised up to a high position, and then he gets out of jail, and he's raised up to a high position. So, I mean, it's a very common thing in allegorical stories.
So they just pass it off as allegory. Whenever somebody tell you something is an allegory or metaphysical, make them explain and break down what's the metaphysics of this story.
Okay, I can do that, but you can't sit there and just deny it because you don't like it. It's the exact same thing that you're saying that I can't do. It's not that I don't like the stories or like what it says or anything like that. I just recognize them as the mythological stories that they are. Well, now that's not allegory, honey. That actually happened. 2 fucking she-bears came down and just mauled those little sumbitches. I mean, you don't insult the prophet of God and get away from it. I mean, God's like a mafia boss. He'll come and fuck your shit up and cut off the head of your horse.
9 times out of 10, they can't. So that lets you know they just don't agree with it or they don't understand it. So that's a cop-out.
Okay.
Not a cop-out. Sorry. No, I'm going to have to deduct 5 points from this video. These are imaginary points. If you end up with negative points, you go to hell. Right now, you're at -5.
So, like, when the Jesus coming back story, and so somebody can say that's a metaphysical story, but
right.
So you saying that's a literal story?
Oh, that's definitely a literal story.
Oh, that's definitely literal. That is in no way an allegory, even though it follows all of the principles of allegories, where you're, framing up stories, where you're teaching morals and lessons, and well, fuck, it's kind of falling apart at this point if you really think about it.
And I know a lot of people laugh at it. They say, how could you be grown and believe somebody gonna come from outer space and, split the sky open and all that type of stuff?
I don't think anybody is saying that exactly. Like, who out there is being like, yo, man, you actually think some alien motherfucker's gonna come down, split the sky open, wrap your ass up there, and give you some kind of mansion, motherfucker? Nobody's seriously making that argument. Well, I do agree. If you're an adult and you believe in, God, the Yahweh God, despite knowing everything that we know about reality and how reality doesn't match up at all with the Bible, it does seem a lot like you're being willfully ignorant. So, I can't have too much respect for that position.
These same people, a lot of them, you'll find out either believe the Martians are coming, or the planet Nibiru is so many thousands of miles away with giant people on it that's going to get out and beat everybody up, or they believe in the Neanderthal or Bigfoot or something.
Whoa. Why are you lumping the Neanderthal in with these fucks right here? Well, no, Neanderthal and the Bigfoot aren't the same thing. But, presenting it in this way is a straw man fallacy because nobody is presenting this. I don't even know why Nibiru has to have, giants that are going to step out and, beat someone up. I don't know why the aliens got to beat someone up. Will Smith beat up the alien in that one movie, the Independence Day. Yeah, I don't know why those giants, Nibiru giants are fucked up. I mean, they're just... those are the bad kind of giants. The giants that were here were the good kind of giants because of God and Bible.
So, it's just that they put the focus on it to find a way not to deal with all the other stuff that's in the Bible.
Really? Really, motherfucker? I mean, that's kind of seems like what Christians do with reality. I mean, you just kind of pack that shit down, get all constipated with it until one day you just explode.
Meaning you got to learn discipline. You got to learn how to eat. You got to learn how to treat your fellow man. You got to learn how to treat your family. You know what I'm saying? And it's tied into...
Okay, so how to treat your family. Let's take a quick examination of how the Bible says to treat your family. Well, if your wife, she's not putting out, then, you know what? Get you a second wife. That's what Jacob did. If that one's not putting out, children quick enough, fuck the handmaidens of them. I mean, you got slaves out there. You go out there, fuck them, and then have you some children there. That's what Jacob did, or Israel, the one that naked wrestled God in the middle of the desert. Oath didn't fuck him in the ass. Moses came up, watered sheep, and so he just gave one of his daughters. Jethro. His name was Jethro. Legit. Fucking Jethro.
How you treat your neighbor, which would be community work.
How you treat, it's not community work. In the Bible doesn't espouse community work. In the Bible, they have Joshua, marching around and forcing a city to surrender with his magical stone bending earth bender skills. That's how the Bible tells you to treat your neighbor.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't want that responsibility, so they just pass it off as, that's a nice little mythological book. It got some good stories in it, but I don't take it literal. No, that's because, if it's literal, then that means you literally, if you're going against it, you're going to be in trouble.
Uh-oh, I'm going to be in trouble. What the fuck's going to happen to me there, Mikhail? I'm going to get a spanking from God or from Mikhail.
So that's what that is, bro.
Is there something wrong with myth?
I really don't think it is. I mean, I don't think mythos are actually a bad thing. I mean,
when you look at the history, every nation got a myth.
Every one of them.
And it seemed like, and what I do seem like, it seemed like a lot of atheists in America today, black atheists specifically.
Okay, so they're talking about myths and everything like that. I don't generally think myths are bad. I mean, myths are, they tell us a lot about culture in the past and everything in that kind of realm of society. I would love to know how he separates his myths from everybody else's myths that make his myths true and in fact not myths. So, like, I would really like to know how he differentiates his particular set with everybody else's. And, that's what I try to ask any Christian that I talk to is what separates your set from everybody else's and makes your set real.
Well, it's funny when you even say that word, when you put that black and atheist together, it's kind of like an oxymoron.
He says oxymoron.
Are you kidding me? I'm actually surprised that more black people aren't atheists. I mean, if you think about the history of African Americans with the Bible and Christianity in general, I think Chris Rock is the one that said it, that they got a real short fucking memory. Because if you don't remember, back during the slave days, they was beating your ass, shouting out Bible verses. That's exactly what they were doing. They were using the Bible and religion in order to keep you passive, to keep you stupid, and to keep you as slaves. That's exactly what it was.
Oxymoron, man. I know about the whole atheos and,
Atheos? I don't know why this motherfucker's speaking Greek, though.
To tell him one day, like, oh, it's my beard perm too, brother. I got the same type of hair on my beard, man. But yeah, that's because I used to give them 3-piece spices in them little chat rooms, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But,
what, did he just admit to chatting up underage girls in chat rooms? I mean, how else am I supposed to take little spices in them chat rooms? Like, what the fuck? This guy has gotten 10 times more creepy. Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, if you look back in history, I said this 4-5 years ago when that whole Hebrew Kemet thing jumped off when I was with the Hebrew War Machine. Okay. And I told them, man, I said, look, what's funny is, let's see, when they try to call something, when they say we atheists, ancient Kemet didn't believe in deities, didn't believe in gods, they turned everything to netters, which basically mean nature. The funny thing about this, if you got any lick of common sense...
Okay, before we get to your lick of common sense here, what the fuck are you talking about? Netters? Like, atheists used to say, oh, it's just netters. It's, nature's God. Which means that we're not atheists. We're more or less pagan. I want to say that there were some cultures that had atheists in them in the past, like in ancient Greece. I'm not going to rule those out. I mean, I haven't really done the research on atheists of the past, but I don't really think that I need to in order to be like, this has no bearing on current, atheism.
Sense. You would know throughout history, there has never been a black ancient atheist civilization.
Who cares? What does this matter? At all? This is kind of like an appeal to tradition fallacy, but just kind of in reverse, maybe? Because it's generally the appeal to tradition is, something that we have always done, we should continue to do because we've always done it. It's kind of circular logic in that way. But this is we haven't done this in the past, therefore we shouldn't do it now because we haven't done it in the past. It doesn't make sense.
Ever. You can try to find it, you ain't gonna find it. I asked Uncle them to find this years ago and they couldn't. Because
one person can't find it, and obviously that means they never fucking existed. So fuck you, believe in God or go to hell, motherfucker.
All black people has always believed in the spiritual world. We didn't all believe in the exact same way. Some believed in one, some believed in a plethora of gods. But we always knew it was something in the afterlife or it was something in a spiritual type dimension.
Just because it has always been one way in the past does not mean that we have to continue doing it the same way now. That's a fallacious argument, and I really don't think that you should add this to your repertoire.
No, I to be quite honest with you, I always say that atheism, look at that hoe.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Somebody's got fucking ADHD here. It's like, I've always taught atheists that, holy fuck, you see that hawk up there? God damn it. Squirrel, shiny shit? What the fuck?
Atheism is a European birth defect.
Whoa, what the fuck? I got my medical degree from bullshit university that I learned here on YouTube and in the Bible to say that. Who the fuck are you? Like, why are you saying it's a birth defect? Can you point to how it's a birth defect exactly? I stayed in a Holiday Express. That means I know my shit, motherfucker. Atheists have a birth defect.
I believe.
Break that down.
I like how the guy behind the camera is like, break that down, because I don't understand what the fuck you're saying right now.
Really believe up until the so-called white man.
The so-called white man? What the, am I a fucking different species than him? I mean, white men do exist, motherfucker. I don't know who you've been talking to, but they do exist.
The thing is, up until he really came on the scene, that atheist thing, or there being no creator, no supreme being, no intelligence in the universe, that thing was unheard of from any other culture, Eastern.
No, it wasn't. As far as your God goes, there have been many people that didn't believe in your shit. As far as a God in general, yeah, most people in the past have believed that there's some kind of God out there. Christianity was forced upon the black man.
My question is, like, how do you think humanity survived this long without Western philosophy? If this is the newest thing on the planet,
it's real funny.
All of this stuff is to be just done away with, like it ain't real no more.
I like how he immediately shakes his head like, I don't fucking know, man. Why you gotta ask me all these complicated fucking questions? I just read the Bible and do what it say.
I go back this way. I have friends that's atheists, and we real good friends.
I feel like this is, I have a black friend argument, but it's, I have an atheist friend.
And, they really, for the most part, they decent human beings. So we don't get into no type of religious or spiritual debates. You know what I'm saying? I figure as long as they treat they fellow man right, then that's between them and the Most High.
Oh, okay. So your friends are okay atheists, but everybody else has disease or a birth defect. But I also like the low key admittance that you don't have to have God in order to be a good person. It's like they're okay. They don't try to talk about religion or nothing. It's like, oh, okay, so they don't challenge your beliefs at all. Got it. That's why they're good.
It's really, atheism is a disease, man.
What? Like, I don't, how?
And it's starting to infect black people.
If I knew this guy, I'd be like, oh, you think atheism's a disease, do you? Sorry, bro. I just got to touch the atheism.
I've never seen this many black atheists in my life. Never seen it, bro. You got to treat it, you got to cut it out like a cancer.
Maybe.
You gotta cut it out. Like, you're gonna get a Rambo knife and, like, cut out, like, I don't know, your spleen or something? Like, I got the atheism. It's right here.
What I hear from outsiders, not speaking as a Hebrew Israelite right now, when you talk to people, like I've had people that were straight up atheists, or they was at that point where they was agnostic, meaning they just don't know.
Okay, that's not the correct use of it. It's not like theist, atheist, agnostic. Richard Dawkins does have a scale out there that it kind of includes that, where you got pure agnostic in there. But, I mean, I think that that's really, taking the word agnostic and applying it in a wrong way. Because agnostic refers to knowledge, and theism, atheism refers to what you believe. Me, personally, I'm an agnostic atheist. Now, don't you go out there telling people that agnostic is not either atheist or agnostic. Like, you can be both. Don't tell them that shit, because they'll look at you like you're retarded beyond fuck.
But they was ready to just throw the Bible in the garbage can. You know what I'm saying? And you absolutely right. A lot of that is due to poor teachers, poor ministers. Coming from the outside point of view, I've heard people tell me that was really, they was ready to be through with the book, man. And, I put the blame on the people who teaching the book. A lot of people are, they ill-advised for handling this book. Like, they shouldn't be handling it. You know what I'm saying? And it runs a lot of people off. But,
So basically, anybody that disagrees with your view of the Bible or your view of your faith is wrong, and they're confused. But if somebody's teaching it the way that you feel it should be taught, then they're on the right path. Sounds like a bit of that cherry picking special pleading bullshit you were talking about earlier.
When you so what a cat told me, he said he was ready to give it up. And he said till he seen me break down some scriptures one day. All credit to the Most High.
See, all credit to the Most High. That sounds exactly like Muhammad, peace be upon him. Or as I like to say, piss be upon him.
He said, man, I ain't never heard it talk like that. Like, it makes sense. Like, it look literal. It look tangible. Right. It don't look so spooky. Right. And that's the problem, man.
How does it not look spooky? You have a guy that says that he's God and that he's going to raise again on the third day. And then when he does it, he comes back as a ghost. That's spooky as fuck. But when I think there's a ghost in the house, I immediately freeze. Because as we all know, their vision is based on movement, kind of like a T-Rex in that Jurassic Park movie. That's totally false. But, that's also covers perfect deterrent for ghosts, okay? Just if someone's like, have you seen Jesus? You just need to get your blankie and be like, no, you seen that fuck? He's scary as shit. Do you see his hands?
Spookyism is getting ridiculous in the churches, man. And so I can understand why a lot of people don't like the more commercial way of explaining and teaching the Bible. But when you deal with most Hebrew Israelites, they are more literal with it. And it actually makes more sense to a lot of people, you know what I mean?
How does it make more sense? Like, I don't get how a literal interpretation of the Bible makes more sense. That just does not make sense to me, like, at all. Like, that how can you take the Bible literally when it's got shit in there like the goddamn Adam and Eve and the day and the earth being created on 6 days or whatever the fuck, and holy fuck. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you guys have a nice night. Leave a thumbs up, whatever, and I will see you heathens later. Don't forget, stand up, use your voice, and we will see you guys on Friday. Bye, heathens.